If you edit in Lightroom and the first thing you do is go to the basic panel and start moving exposure, contrast, etc., then this video is for you. While the basic panel may be good for simple corrections, it's really not a great place to start building the foundation of your image. So I want to flip the script on that a little bit today and show you a commonly overlooked tool, maybe a tool you've never heard of, and that is the Parametric Tone Curve. And I know that doesn't sound very sexy, and maybe it's a little bit scary.
I'm so fucking scared right now, you shut up!
Especially if you're a beginner, but I promise you this is the best way to nail perfect contrast in your photo before you move any sliders. So let's dive into Lightroom, bring up a photo, and get into it. Okay, so we're in Lightroom now, and I've got this portrait I took of my girlfriend back in the summer at the beach. And as you can see, it's quite underexposed, and that's mostly due to the fact that I think it was, backlit. And yeah, anyway, it clearly needs some help. So that's exactly what we're gonna do. And I'm gonna show you what I find is the most effective way to do this and give you like the perfect foundation to start editing your image rather than messing around with your basic light sliders. So if we go down and skip all these and go down to the curves, you can see here, this is your normal point curve and your RGB. But next to that is your parametric tone curve. And I don't know if you've ever noticed that before, or maybe you've never clicked on it, or maybe you did click on it and thought, nope, not touching that. No idea what that does. That's fine, that's what we're here for. So I want to dive into this and give you a quick overview and just show you how impressive it is and how it can be easily incorporated into your workflow to make you more efficient and just give you a better base image to start editing. So we are here in the parametric tone curve now, and I'm just going to break it down for you. So up here, you've got your highlights, then you have your lights, then you've got your darks and your shadows. And if you can see the little highlighted area around that, that basically gives you a range for how much you can flex those. So unlike your point curve, if we go back, where you drop a point and you can really just destroy an image if you're not careful, you don't have that capability with the parametric tone curve. You are locked within a range, so you can't destroy your image, which makes it even better. And it's a great place to start to build on. So let's get into it. As you can see, we are very underexposed. So we'll start with the shadows here. And if I push those up all the way, so as you can see, I'm getting stopped. It says shadows are at 100 there. And then I will go into the darks and start bringing those up as well. And my lights here, it's mostly affecting the background, a little bit of the hair light there, which I like. So we'll keep that. And then I'll go into my highlights and pull those down a bit. And if you look at where we started versus now, and we haven't touched a single slider yet. So that is an amazing start, but here's where it gets better. If you go back to your point curve, you can see that it's completely unlinked and untouched. So even though you messed around with this tone curve, the parametric tone curve, your point curve is completely separate, but they stack and work together. So if I wanted to introduce a little bit of contrast now, I can just slightly create an S curve here. And then I've got contrast. I have the perfect starting point to really start moving sliders around and editing this image. So before, after, and now, it's just very minor tweaks up here. And I'll up the shadows just a touch more because it was very dark. A little bit of whites, a little bit of negative on the blacks. Boom. That looks really good already. Again, before, after, and very minor adjustments with the sliders. The majority of the heavy lifting was done with the parametric tone curve, and then just a slight S curve with the point curve. So this is just a phenomenal tool if you didn't know about it or if you weren't using it. I think it's much better than starting your image and going to these basic light sliders and trying to manipulate your image from here. Obviously, you can definitely wind up with a similar result, but I feel like it's just a much easier practice to go here and start building your image. And because of that limiting range with the parametric tone curve, you're not, you're never going to do any harm. You can push and pull that within that limit and get it to a nice spot and get the image looking how you want it to look, and without the crazy like stuff you can do with the point curve there if you're not careful. But yeah, that looks really good already. Last thing I'll do is just up the vibrance, drop the saturation just a touch. I always like to do that. I find vibrance gives you much nicer colors. And then a little bit of negative clarity, dehaze, touch of texture. And this is, I'm not going into any color grading yet or anything like that, so no like really creative look. But we've got a really good looking image already. The last thing I think I would do is just do a mask for her and pull up the shadows a touch more. A very little bit of exposure because it looks really fake if you push that too far. And obviously when we do that, we want to add in some more contrast. Whenever you mask and you add shadows or boost exposure or shadows, always make sure you add contrast, and it'll just kind of counter the false looking light that you've added. And again, you can also, which I love that Lightroom added this, what feels like not that long ago, but it's been there for a while, the point curve in a mask, so you can really get creative and dial in nice looking contrast. And I'll give her a touch of saturation to kind of pop. And yeah, honestly, that is before, after. I'd be happy to share that as it is without, really needing to get into any creative color grading or color mixer at all. Very, very simple edit, but it looks good. It looks clean. And if you look at where we started to where we are, and I did very little. That took me, honestly, if I wasn't explaining it or walking through it with you, it would have been probably 5 or 6 minutes. So really powerful. And honestly, that's all I really wanted to touch on today, was in case you didn't know that the parametric tone curve existed, or maybe you've seen it but have been too afraid to touch it because you weren't sure exactly what it did or how it worked. I just wanted to bring it to your attention, and hopefully it helped somebody out there and you can start incorporating it into your workflow. And like I said, I think it's the best place to start to build your base or your foundation for your edit, and then build from there. So yeah, that's pretty much it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.